Well, hello and welcome to Knife Delights. I'm having to do just a little bit of a voiceover because I recorded a couple segments, and for whatever reason, my mic didn't work. So here I am talking. I'm doing some experimenting with evaporust, and I took an old knife apart and I soaked it in the evaporust just to see what it would look like, and that was the results. Soaking that thing overnight, it was dirty, nasty, really bad. And I just used paper towels to wipe off the parts, and you can see it's cleaned stuff up pretty good. And if I ever decide to put that knife back together again, uh, I'll do some more cleaning on things and make things all nice and shiny. But I've just been experimenting now with evaporust. So yeah, there you can see a lot of the dirt and grime sludge that I got off of that old knife. I wanted to soak ElPhoenix's knife in the evaporust, but I'm concerned about what it might do to the bone covers. I did ask his permission to be able to soak his knife in the evaporust, and he did give me permission, but I just thought that I would experiment first. Now, as we look at the covers on that old knife there, you can see it didn't do any damage to them whatsoever. But what I did, well, there's the other cover. And again, no damage to any of those parts. So what I did is I took an old knife and I've got it soaking there in the background. And the reason I wanted to use the evaporust is because no matter how much I clean his knife there, I keep getting dirty oil out of it every time I soak it. And I wanted to get way down in there to areas where you couldn't get, manually when the knife's folded up and put together. And hopefully that evaporust will soak in between the springs and everything and get all the rust out of ElPhoenix's knife. So I took a knife of my own. It's bone covered. I put enough evaporust in there to do so it would just soak one side of that knife and not touch the other knife. And it's just an experiment to see if it did any damage to the bone covers. So here in just a moment we'll take a look at that knife. We'll pull it out, see what happened. All right. So I soaked half of it. And I was checking to see those black splotches on the back springs, if the evaporust helped those areas. So the bottom side is the side that was in the evaporust, and the top was not. And just going to wipe on it here just a little bit. Got some stuff off of there. And when I look at it, it looked like that evaporust did clean that bottom spring just a little better, a little easier. Now as we look at the cover, there's the broken cover there. That was the side that was down in the evaporust. And as you can see, it didn't do anything to the coloring. It didn't seem to affect the knife whatsoever, which I'm very happy with. And once again, I just wanted to double check and make sure before when you're working with somebody else's knife and not just your own, you tend to be just a little bit more cautious. And here we go. We're going to be putting this knife from ElPhoenix in. I want to make sure. I had trouble getting stuff off of those back springs. No matter how much I worked on them, kept getting dirt out of there. So we're going to put that in the evaporust here in just a second. And we're going to let it soak for, maybe 30 seconds or so. 30 seconds, 30 minutes, I mean. And after that, we'll see if it soaks down in amongst those back springs and helps us out. Please take particular attention to the color of the covers there. There you go. And in she
Okay, so
goes.
I have let it soak for, well, it's been about 45 minutes. I don't think I have to soak it a real long time because it wasn't in that bad a shape. Put it in some fresh water and we'll move this off to the side for a moment. And we want to rinse it off. And I don't see any damage to the bones. And let's just see what we got. Open it up. There we go. I don't see any discoloration. I think it's just fine. I think it's safe. I guess you want to test all your different cover materials. Just make sure that it's not going to damage. So I didn't leave it in here very long. I didn't leave it in overnight or anything. And according to the instructions, if it's not in too bad a shape, you don't have to soak it all that long. So we'll try it here. I'm going to dry it off, and then we'll try working on it just a little bit more. Well, let's give this knife just a little bit of a once-over glance here. And we can see our blades there. They weren't discolored any. Got a little bit of the black stuff coming out right there. And we'll just check our snap here. I think if we've lost a little bit of snap because it's been in water and the evapor rust, we'll have to oil it again. So that's what that blade looks like now. Now, it does look like it stained that blade just a little bit. Kind of put like a patina on it. And then we'll check this last one here. Yeah, I definitely got some stuff out of there. Now, I'm going to tell you before I forget, when I first took this out of the evapor rust, I really thought that it had lightened these covers up. It looks so light colored. I thought, oh no, did it leach out some of the dye out of the bone? But I don't think so. That's why earlier in the video I said take note of the colors. I really don't think it did anything. So I tell you what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to polish this knife up. We'll take a look at it after I'm done polishing, and then we'll see if this is good enough for ElPhoenix, see if he's happy with it or not. So let's just throw some case paste on it. It's time to put the finishing touches on this knife. So I hit it with case paste a couple times, cleaned the blades up, and then I threw it in some mineral oil and just let it soak just a few minutes, because there was still a lot of dirt and grime and stuff from all of the cleaning that got here and there. As you can see, I'm getting it cleaned off. This mineral oil, yeah, it's kind of a messy process. I get it, but I think it's worth it. Yes, I do. Of course, a lot of this black stuff here, that's the leftover residue from the case paste and from the polishing process. But I just think overall, it's going to make a wonderful improvement to the knife. And ElPhoenix, I hope you're happy with this. I know you'll see it on the video, but I can't wait till you get it in your hands and can actually look at it and see what you think. Is it perfection? No, it's not perfection. But I tell you what, we rescued a knife. We preserved a knife. And that's what I like doing. Okay, let's just take a look down in here, down in the well. You can see how much cleaner that is down in there. So much better. It still has a rusty color down there in the bottom, but it's been neutralized. I'm glad that the evapor rust did not seem to bother the bone and the dye job, but I guess I would caution everybody, be very careful. Very careful. I wouldn't leave it in the evapor rust like overnight or for 12 hours or something like that when you got these bone handles or bone covers. Yeah, that's looking so much better down in there. So I wiped the back springs off a little bit already. And they look to be a whole lot cleaner. There was just so much stuff on those back springs. Oh, listen to that. Oh, listen to that. That one's still kind of weak. But again, folks, this knife was used a lot, so it might be worn just a little bit. And ElPhoenix, if you want, when you get it, maybe put a drop of oil down in there. Finish. It'll still probably be a little bit damp and wet from the mineral oil when you get it. But you can put some lube down in there and just keep working these blades. And like right here on this back spring, you'll keep getting some dirt out of there. You there? Yeah, that oil comes out dirty. But I tell you what, compared with when we started, this knife is in excellent shape. Here we go. Okay, let's take a look. There's our back springs. They cleaned up awful nice, didn't they? Yeah, there's still a couple little tiny little blemishes here and there, but yeah, I think she cleaned up really nice. And again, ElPhoenix, I hit it with the case paste a couple times. It looks pretty good, but after the mineral oil, it looks kind of dull, the finish on it. So if you get some flits or case paste or something like that, you can probably just hand wipe these, or hand polish is what I should say. There's what our bolsters and that shield looks like. So this is a penknife. That's the general overall category. But it is a senator pattern within the penknife category. See, just keep rubbing and polishing on it. What do you think? There's the pile side. I think she's looking pretty good. You see, we still continue to get some of that dirty oil out of there. So, boy, it gets down in there and it stays, folks. It's hard to get rid of it all. That's what our nail file looks like. Cleaned up pretty good. And here's one little pen blade here. I'm very happy with how these turned out. There you go. Looks pretty good there. I'll get it to focus in here. There we go. There's a good shot at it. Yep. Take a look at our main blade here. There's our main blade. And again, the pitting is so deep down in there, you're going to have those little rough looking areas there. But to take them all out, you'd have to remove so much metal, and I don't think you want to do that. Plus, it gives the knife just a little bit of character yet. But she's nice and clean, and she's rust-free. Got a weak snap there. But again, from when we started to what we have now, I think it's pretty good. Now, I think this knife, we look at that tang stamp there, and it says, see if I can get this to work. Well, I just can't read it through the camera. But it says high carbon steel, and then underneath it, it says USA. I found that there were Craftsman or Sears knives, and that's how the Sears knives used to be stamped. I happened to find a whole bunch of Sears catalogs, old Sears catalogs, digital, online, and I went through, starting in like 1949, all the way up into the 90s. I did not see that they ever made a senator's knife with the bone on it, but I did see that they did make some senator's knives off and on, senator pattern. But I never did see it with the bone. So, what I'm wondering is, was this a Sears knife? Maybe it was a limited edition 1 year or something? I don't know. There is no other tang stamp on it. I think there are some other knives that are stamped just with that high carbon steel on it with no maker's mark. I did see where 1 year they had like a special run of some knives, kind of like a gentleman's knife, and they actually said in the catalog that they had been made by Schrade. Now, I don't know if Schrade made the early Sears knives. There's always speculation on who made the Sears knives and the Craftsman. But, yeah, there we go. There we go. So, ElPhoenix, please tell me what you think of this. I hope you're happy with it. I just want to say thanks once again for the opportunity to work on this little treasure. It meant so much to me that you trusted me to send it to me. I just, boy, I tell you what a piece of history, what a wonderful knife to be able to hold. So everyone, I hope you've enjoyed this. If you didn't see part one, please go back and watch part one of this series, this part two here. You'll see what I started with. But yeah, it's great. Well, down here in the lower right-hand corner, I'm going to put a link to one of my playlists. And down here in the center, that big round Knife Delight. So I just hit that if you feel like you'd like to subscribe to Knife Delights. And down in the lower left-hand corner, well, that's just the next video that YouTube thinks you should watch. And until next time, have a very delightful day.